The Barbadian heritage can also be found in the descendants of African slaves who were brought to Magnolia Plantation by the first Draytons to arrive in the colony. According to oral history, Richmond Bowens, the gatekeeper at Drayton Hall for a number of years, was a descendant of those slaves. Through his stories and memories, Richmond Bowens preserved his family's heritage and links to Barbados. Today, that tradition is continued through a ninth-generation descendant of the family.
I met Richmond shortly after I came to Charleston, but I didn't know exactly who he was. And when I finally found out, who he was, I became very excited by that, primarily because I learned of our history here at Drayton Hall first, and realized that he was the one that was the tradition keeper, the tradition bearer in our family. And he basically just, kept a light, lit for our family. It was really important to Cousin Richmond to tell the history, and he seemed to be very happy when he was telling it, and it seemed as though he was very fulfilled when he was telling it. And I felt that from him that it was really important because he was passing on a legacy, that he was passing on information that was invaluable. What he did tell me was that John, Caesar, and Catherine were actual slaves here on this plantation, and they were actually slaves, descendants of slaves from Magnolia Plantation here on the Ashley River, and they came from Barbados with the Draytons, and they were our actual ancestors. This information was just, it was very overwhelming for me, very overwhelming, and I just feel very, fortunate. I feel very, blessed. That's the word I'm looking for. I'm really blessed to have Cousin Richmond be, part of this, for him to actually make the oral tradition a legacy for him. And it was, just wonderful. I don't know what else to say. It's hard to really put it in words, I guess, maybe because emotionally it's, it just really captivated me, so. But I'll need to put it in some words, I know.
Putting those feelings into words is difficult for many. From the descendants of low-country planters to the descendants of African slaves. How does knowledge of the connections between Barbados and South Carolina aid one in condensing the combined heritage of the two worlds, their separate and distinct cultures, and several generations, into words of understanding?
As we look at our heritage in South Carolina, and as we realize that we're part of a larger world, people need to understand that South Carolina historically always was part of a larger world, of the Atlantic world, of the Caribbean, that we were the colony of a colony, that the cultural impact of Barbadians on South Carolina, black and white, was tremendous. I think in order to understand who we are, we need to remember that connection. I think it's something to be celebrated. We should celebrate the fact that we have historically been part of a larger world, not just looking at ourselves, but looking at South Carolina and from whence we came.